So I was a Redskins fan living in Oklahoma growing up. Where
because you just weren't going to be a Cowboys fan?
Right. How would you know that? That's just funny, man. I love that.
Did I just take your story?
I feel known. No,
okay.
not yet. Not yet. Give me that dagger. So, and because, that was the Houston Oilers, Dallas Cowboys. I mean, those were the professional teams. And then the University of Oklahoma Sooners. Do you remember Robert Newhouse? Running back for the Cowboys. And so in the 70s, the Cowboys beat the Redskins like 9 out of 10 games, except it's either 74, I think, was the NFC Championship, and the Redskins won. And so it came out, the legend is, it came out that they picked up something on film.
A tell of some kind?
A tell. So when it was a running play, Newhouse put his mouth guard in.
Oh, that's right.
When it was a pass play, he took it out.
Yep.
And everybody on the offensive line and the linebackers, they're calling it, And the comment was like, it's like you knew what the Cowboys were going to run.
Wow. I haven't heard that story. That's amazing.
And so, as an opponent, as an adversary, as an enemy, what do they have on you?
With God, there is always more. More love, more life, more freedom. Welcome to Zoe's Exploring More with Michael Thompson. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Our Heavenly Father has provided many delightful ends for us along our journey, but He takes great care to see that we do not mistake any of them for home." Join me and the team as we explore the kingdom together, discovering the deep truths and offering encouragement for the journey. There is always more.
Welcome, friends and allies, to the Exploring More podcast. Hanging out with SJ in our 300th and something episode.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hanging out, bro. And we are in the middle of a series. This is part 3 of a series about the map of darkness and light.
Yeah.
The two realms, the two kingdoms, and the conflict that we are right in the middle of. And so we're just trying to add a little bit of color and depth to this map, because maps are like that. If you've ever opened up the old Rand McNally map, and all of its accordion panels.
Never goes back the way.
That's right. But yeah, when glove compartments, you could hide in them when you were a kid. They were so big.
Does anybody keep gloves in glove compartments?
I mean,
I think we did up north because you need gloves.
Yeah, you could put a change of clothes in.
Yeah, some of those.
We had a Ford LTD.
Kid brother.
That was, I mean, it was a locker, man.
Yeah,
the thing was that wide.
Like a microwave.
Yeah, at least you could put the cat in there if you wanted to.
I mean, quiet it down.
So, but yeah, so big maps and the chance to, this series is about really inviting men and women to see the larger story that their story's in, and how the landscape, how significant a map is of Narnia, of the Lord of the Rings, of Normandy. I mean,
the scope and the breadth of whatever's on the map and where you are in it.
Yeah. And the I think about that little corner. I think it's usually the corner right or corner left of the scale
and the legend.
And that gives you even more intel. Mm-hmm. And so in the spiritual reality that we live in, that's why we created this map almost 15, maybe closer to 20, 18 years ago. I bet you we've handed out 4,000 or 5,000 of these maps that we made. So Andy's going to have that on the how you can get a digital copy of the map.
Zoe.org/map.
That's nice, straightforward. So before we kick off 3 before we take our break.
Yeah, there was towards the end of our last episode, we we really needed to land the plane. But there were some questions that we had kind of wanted to bring up and consider, just because I think they help bring context to what it is that we're talking about. If we can make, maybe answer a question or two.
Couple rapid fires.
Yeah, maybe the rapid fire questions, but it just brings context to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it brings it down to earth into like real situations. So one of them was, where in your life do you sense tension between the two realms, the physical and the spiritual?
Well, everywhere, all the time.
Right. Where do you not?
Yeah, I think as we move through this thing about being oriented and having our wits about us, having our bearings to some degree, then yeah, I mean, day to day in my marriage, with my adult children, with my team and friends, this is a motto, of there's always more going on. Mm-hmm. And it's all moving together. There's forces against us, and there's a God, a Trinity, and the kingdom of God that's for us. And so that tension is always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, when you're talking about, always, everywhere, this map is what we're talking about. These realms, it's all around us all the time.
All the time.
We tend to be taught like the spiritual is far away and the physical's here. It's all intermixed. But also, when I think about maps, there's a time where an area is kind of foreign to you.
Yeah.
And you need a map to be able to navigate. And the more and more that we recognize the truth of what you just described, the less we need to be like looking at a map to be reminded, and we're just operating with that knowledge.
Yeah, the map is significant, and I would add a guide is really important. So we've fished together.
A guide along the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's even the one who the map is kind of deeply. It's just their natural. I was with I was just talking with Edwin Snell. I was on their couple 100-acre Georgia farm, about 60 miles. Which way is that? I can't remember. West, maybe, of outskirts of Atlanta. And man, he took 2 turns, and I was lost. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful, open pastures, old. I mean, they've taken arrowheads off of the property, wow. Cannonballs off of the property. Such history. It's amazing. But and I'm driving around with he and his brother Chris, and beautifully they were showing it off. But it was 2 turns. And totally if you would have dropped me off after that, I'm not sure I could have got back to their house. Yeah. I would have taken some of the paths and roads that I had seen. So
but because you had a guide with you.
A guide who was showing me and telling me, but still I wasn't familiar enough. And the other thing I think about when we've been fishing up with our friend Scoot, up in Tennessee and off the Watauga. Yeah. And, I mean, he's been up and down that river so many times that he's like, hey, cast right there. Make sure you get in front of the little white bubbles so it'll play down in there. Now, you still got to make the cast, but he knows there's fish in there.
Right.
And so I think about, the Holy Spirit, or if you have somebody who isn't quite as caught up in your drama, that's a good thing to have somebody to talk about this tension of what is going on here.
Interpret.
And help interpret.
I mean, what are the chances we've interpreted our lives correctly?
Much less somebody else's actions, thoughts, and attitudes.
Yeah, so it's the information on the map is crucial, but a guide that can interpret what's happening in a moment is very helpful.
When we counsel guys, and they come in town for intensives, or we're involved in, something that may be ongoing that way. I mean, it is a constant conversation and tension and good questions. Well, where do you think you are?
Right.
What do you think's going on?
How do you tell the difference then? Let's say a guy's listening and he doesn't have access to a guide yet, and we've got guys that would like to be your guide, by the way. So send us an email.
Yeah, the elder sages But
let's say he's just new to all this. how do you tell the difference? How do you discern between the spiritual and the physical, like, and the circumstantial?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what's a
Yeah.
first step for learning how to do that, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think back to Scoot and Edwin. I mean, if we've traveled this way for a while, that's helpful, and yet you can still kind of be swept into like what just happened.
Unfamiliar waters.
Especially when you run into somebody's false self-flesh, that is absolutely going to try to pull yours to the surface and get it on, let's go.
Yeah.
And so, I think what, back to these characters in some of these great films and stories, Longshanks, one of his generals, said about William Wallace. He said he's not easily tricked. He's not ambushed easily.
Yeah, he's famous for being able to smell a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy who you're not going to sneak up on.
Mm-mm.
And so if you know and if you believe and practice that you do have an enemy, and like in the Matrix, Morpheus says to Neo, they can be anyone at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I can say this without being insensitive. I mean, some of the atrocities, the shooting in Minneapolis at that school, that person is not in their right mind.
Right.
And however long they've been that way, or whatever happened that day or led up to that day, and I'm not blaming everything, as C.S. Lewis says, on demons and foul spirits, but there's certain, you asked about discernment and evidence about certain things and certain immoral activity and actions and evil activity and actions. That's, maybe those are easier, but I'm not sure everybody even sees the reality of that, SJ, that there are forces at work, and it brings up some very, very difficult questions about the heart of God, the goodness of God, and the existence of evil and all that, which we're not necessarily getting into right this moment. Mm-hmm. And yet, this is the landscape, and a way to see it, hopefully differently, that there are, there's, I say in Heart of Warrior and also in King Me, both books, the lamb ought not lay down with the lion right now. Mm-hmm. This is, there is a fallenness to this place, and an attitude, a spirit that's at work, in this place. Eldridge is writing a lot about it these days, about just the critical spirit, the spirit of hatred. Mm-hmm. We kind of think of those as attitudes or emotions or perspectives. Well, when you subscribe to this idea that it's even more than that, there are foul spirits with names, and identities wrapped around those specific things that they do. Mm-hmm. A spirit of lust, a spirit of hatred, a spirit of fear. So
enmity, yes, all of that.
And so I think this is at least an attempt and steps towards giving those good boundaries, good, at least some perspective of, this is the world that we're living in, and it's not right. Mm-hmm. There's a second coming, says our story, and until then we live in this conflict that good and evil are very much at war,
at odds.
Odds, if you want to just dial it down a little bit, but over us. And so, I don't want to live another minute or any more minutes than ever possible where I'm actually, and I think I did, I aided the enemy. I was used by the kingdom of darkness in stories in my past. Yeah. Some of my fatherhood was captured with just, attitudes of anger and being quick, with the kids when they were small. Not good, man. None of it. Right. And the kind of things that you would say, I wouldn't do that. Or you see some other parent. Oh man. Who's in Walmart or Target or Disney World, and you're like, man, I might need to go rescue that kid This is not good.
It's funny how we're often our own best advocate. I mean, even driving through traffic on the way over here, this guy, wants to cut me. I don't drive like that. I never cut. And of course, I'm sure I do. You know, get in front of people and rude on the road. So
there's a lot going on, and that's what we're attempting to have a bigger conversation about.
That's right.
One more?
One more, real quick one. So we've touched on it, I think, a little bit, but just really directly, why is it important to see both sides?
Yeah. I think, for me, having not seen both sides for so long, you're a pawn. You're just at the whim of thoughts. Temptation is a thought. It's a lure.
Yeah.
Ignorant and naive to this is just probably the best ingredients for being very subject to probably more the enemy's work than even the Trinity's work. I think the voices that we're subject to, and I believe personally, we all hear a lot of voices that aren't us, but they either come at us or sometimes they can come up within us.
Yeah.
I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were telling me about how this one person just makes them so angry. And I'm like, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to even judge or discern or give some kind of advice. I'm just trying to get some more intel. And as they kept talking, the evidence started to be presented of something that happened a long time ago, and they remember it, they feel it. It's a grudge.
Yeah.
And understandably.
Right.
When you've been mistreated by somebody, I mean, there's a lot of people probably thinking right now, like, is he talking about me on the Exploring More podcast? I'm talking about me too.
Yeah.
There's just some things that can get a hold of us, and when that feeling comes over us, I'll tell you one of the great things we'll talk about after the break. We got to come back and talk about Inside Out and Inside Out 2.
Fantastic movies.
2 of the most spiritually significantly helpful. The Matrix and some of the other things, that's pretty thick and quite. It's definitely the battle, with the agents and Neo and their
guns
and all that. We need lots of guns, lots more guns. But when Inside Out came out and we first saw that, it's probably 7, 8 years ago. The first one, we were like, oh my gosh, they're stealing our stuff.
Yeah.
This internal thing that's happening to her with the move and how unnerving and unsettling and the conclusions that she comes to. How did that little 10, 11-year-old come up with that?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's a swing at it gives me, I think, a better narrative to kind of put my life and circumstances, up to see at least a little bit more of what might be going on. I think it's very helpful in marriage. I think it's very helpful in parenting and family. When your kids are little, as sweet and cute as they are, no, they have a self-centered component to that, and as well as, we've said this before, man, when my little boy or my little girl, it just pushes my buttons, and
that means you have buttons that can be pushed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where did the buttons come from?
Right.
And I get it, to lose patience, to be unkind. I mean, these fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5, they have counters. They have, and Paul says it. He says a lot about it, that there are those kinds of things that can really, really, and by the time you're kind of falling over the falls or getting or hitting the ground by being tripped up by those, it's late. It's late, and
you missed that opportunity.
I don't think it's any fun to go up to the plate to swing, and before you get there, 2 strikes. Wait, I get 3 strikes. Well, no, we've already got 2 on you.
Right.
All we need to do is throw one good pitch that you'll ground out or pop up or swing and miss, because they know that they have you until you become awake and aware and versed in
trained
how some of this all works and how it's working against you, and we can go into neural pathways and the ways that those, I mean, there's a lot of science and
oh my gosh,
that is about, these very traumatic things that can happen to us that are then stored in our bodies and can physically affect us, in addition to emotionally cripple us. So, I think that's even more that we get to talk about when we jump back in.
Well, let's come back from the break, and I'll take a quick swing at that because I had a thought while you were sharing.
Sounds good. Hey, we'll be right back on the Exploring More podcast.
Every great adventure starts with preparation, a place to gather, rest, and equip ourselves for the journey ahead. In the same way, Zoe's Base Camp is here for you, an online resource library created to encourage and strengthen Zoe allies on the road to deeper connection, healing, and restoration. A base camp is a staging ground, a place to prepare for the next leg of your expedition. At Zoe, Base Camp is a resource library designed to help you and our allies gear up for the journey of the heart. It is packed with devotionals, discussion guides, and podcasts to help you deepen your relationship with God and one another. When you visit Base Camp, you'll find a growing collection of resources, each crafted to guide you and the men in your circles on your walk with God. Each series that you find below includes a devotion plan with supplemental video content from the Explore More podcast. The devotionals are designed for both personal reflection and small group discussions, helping you dig deeper into God's truth while building meaningful relationships. On the Base Camp website, you will see the various series that we have available. When you click on a series, you'll have the opportunity to download the PDF devotion plan and the discussion guide questions. This also includes an invitation to reflect in time alone with God. Share the plan with your small group and send out the podcast videos for members to watch on their own time. Then, when you gather, dive into conversations about what God is revealing to each of you. Base Camp is more than a resource library. It's a tool for building redemptive brotherhood on the road to experiencing more life, more love, and freedom with God. Start your journey today, explore Base Camp, and reach out to us at allies@zoe.org if you have any further questions.
Welcome back to the Exploring More podcast. And Andy just let us know that we set a record on the longest intro. So for rapid fire questions, that's our version of rapid fire.
Right.
So
it's no longer an intro; it's a mid episode break.
But mid episode break. I like that.
Well, just real quick, why is it important to see both sides? I interpreted that as both sides of the map, right? Kingdom of light, kingdom of darkness. And what if? Okay, a couple of days ago, we drafted our teams for our fantasy football league here at Zoe. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the sports analogy. I know not everybody loves that, but I'm going to give it a swing at it. So what if you had the opponent's playbook in every game you played?
Oh, yeah.
Literally, you could go into the locker room of your opponent and look at the board and his plans against you and know about them before the game started.
Well, as you advance to, the higher levels of competition, they may not have stolen or owned the playbook, but they've watched enough film, that they are absolutely
that's exactly
aware.
Right. Yep.
I tell you this story. So, we just went to Southbrook, our friends at Southbrook, and I got to do a Two Realms, Two Kingdoms kind of presentation. So I'm sitting there preparing. And this same analogy that you're talking about, I remembered there was something about, so I was a Redskins fan living in Oklahoma growing up. Where
because you just weren't going to be a Cowboys fan?
Right. How would you know that? That's just funny, man. I love that.
Did I just take your story?
I feel known.
Did I take your story?
No,
Okay.
not yet. Not yet. Give me that dagger. So, and because, that was the Houston Oilers, Dallas Cowboys. I mean, those were the professional teams. And then the University of Oklahoma Sooners were kind of the other professional team at the time. So in the 70s.
Yeah, some of those guys were 35 playing for the Sooners.
Driving new cars before there was portals and all that.
Yeah,
Not just the Sooners, but they were anyway. So, so I remembered this story, and I looked it up, and it came up through the Google, AI exploration. Do you remember Robert Newhouse, running back for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
I mean, was known for just monstrous. He was in that Earl Campbell
tree trunk
type
legs
runner. I mean, not the Barry Sanders and the Walter Payton dodging you, running over you.
Yep.
So Robert Newhouse. And so in the 70s, the Cowboys beat the Redskins 9 out of 10 games, except it's either 74, I think, was the NFC Championship. And
is that the last time the Cowboys were there?
Maybe. And the Redskins won. And so it came out, the legend is, it came out that they picked up something on film.
A tell of some kind?
Tell. Yeah. So when it was a running play, Newhouse put his mouth guard in.
Oh, that's right.
When it was a pass play, he took it out.
Yep.
And everybody on the offensive line and the linebackers, they're calling it, And it was, and the comment was it's like you knew what the Cowboys were going to run.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't necessarily know which side and stuff, but when you can load the box up on a running play.
That's right. Yeah. Bring another DB in,
Yeah. And even with the audibles at that time, if Staubach were to call an audible, right? And Newhouse okay, we're not passing. Mm-hmm. He's seeing something. I mean.
Wow. I haven't heard that story. That's amazing.
And so, as an opponent, as an adversary, as an enemy, what do they have on you?
Right. What's your tell?
And how far back did it start? Were they even partly responsible?
Mm-hmm.
When you get into the octagon with some of this stuff, and you know that a guy's hurt, and especially back in the 70s, 80s with football, there were guys who, man, if they knew you had a hurt ankle, they're 100%. They're going low. If they knew that, that back then it was hitmen.
Yes.
That were trying to take people's heads off. I mean, the game's progressed in a way that's protected a lot of that. But I think about, there's a way the game's played in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade it's not the same game when you get in high school, and it's definitely not in college, and it's definitely not at this professional level.
Yeah.
And so why would Christianity stay in a 4th grade Sunday school with a few crayons and not progress to something that I think Jesus was quite avidly about exposing, in addition to all the things that were about his ministry and what he was doing and the healing and yet the exposure that he brought to the kingdom of darkness. What he did in Luke chapter 10, when he sends them out in pairs, and he gives them his authority to do what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And they come back.
Hey, this is gonna work.
There's this. It was awesome. We were doing what you did. And Jesus says the coolest thing in that later part of Luke 10. He says, "I know." This is my paraphrase. I know it's going to work. This is going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my power and authority, and you're going to be able to do these things. And he said, as cool as that is, though, here's the coolest thing, that your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
That's the best thing.
So that's an identity piece. When you go to his conflict with Satan and the temptation, what's known as the temptation of Christ, it happens right after the baptism of Christ. I mean, it's not even a page turn. It's the end of chapter 3 in Luke and the beginning of chapter 4. The Spirit leads him. And so all of it's about Jesus' identity, and it's about his power and authority, especially the last temptation. If you'll worship me,
right,
I'll give you
right.
these kingdoms.
Because our identity is what gives us the authority.
And
it's rooted in it.
And that's kind of the subject. If there's a subtitle to today, it is that all of this is about power and authority, and what you believe. There it is. What you believe matters. It has authority in your life. If you believe lies, falsehoods about you that maybe were given to you by a parent, unfortunately, or a step parent, there's a stereotypical reason for some of that stepdad, stepmom, and some of the unfortunate stories they hear. Or, man, if you were in foster care, I mean, we just heard a horrible story of a man that it finally got brought into the light about that. And so, but the damage that can
be, even if mom and dad are there,
are together in there.
Yeah.
And and maybe they're not getting along. And so a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 11-year-old goes to bed hearing that arguing, hearing that yelling, hearing that elevation. I mean, the enemy is going to come.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Move into that bedroom and say, yeah, they're going to get a divorce.
Yeah.
So the next morning at breakfast, of course, Junior says,
upset.
Are you and Daddy getting a divorce?
Without fail, and then I have a question I want to ask you, but without fail, I mean, every child whose parents are splitting up or having problems. Sherry and I experienced this with Stephen when she and I were having our marital issues. What did I do? How's it my fault?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where a child's heart goes.
Yeah.
And what can I do to,
yeah,
I'll be better. I'll be good. I'll do good in school. I'll stop talking. They get into this desperate mode.
And so, it can be the very thing that produces valedictorians, or, and nothing wrong with that, but so that Dad will come home.
Yeah.
If that is the undercurrent of an attitude or belief,
trying to control all
and
that.
we're talking, we're definitely talking about some hypotheticals, but not that hypothetical.
No.
I mean, these are things that we've discovered that have been operational even in our lives, our stories, in our hearts, because something false has been deposited there or
affirmed,
allowed in, and then affirmed somehow. And so it can be very, very, very crippling, crippling.
So this is a tough question, but hopefully, again, related to the map, related to understanding it better. Especially, this is difficult to kind of wrap your head around if this is all new to you, but I really wanted to kind of talk about this. What does the voice of the enemy sound like? Like, we have alluded to it, I think, but...
Well, I would love to say Gollum, or...
It would be much easier if that's what it sounded like.
Oh, that's what that is.
Nobody loves you. Well, okay, now I know where that's coming from.
Right.
It's not like that, though.
No.
I mean, you're laying in your bed quiet, when you're hearing your parents fight, and it's like no one loves you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's a great example of the thoughts that can come at us, and even at 60, I can be susceptible to when there's a convergence, and there just is in all of our lives, where finances become like, okay, this is not good. This broke. They're all 5 figures or more. All right, that's beyond our any savings or account we've created. So now it's credit, and so you do that, and then something else goes south or goes wrong, or an opportunity to do something, and you put that on the credit card, and so now it's 10, 20,000, and you're like, okay. And you feel like you got to dig out with a cup,
right?
And some of it's your own doing, but dude, some of it was done to me, and absolutely
And the judgments that come along
yes,
with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Is
God
point,
God gets brought into question that he's not going to provide. I'm getting brought into question that I'm not a good provider.
Right.
You know, and even, you know, the idea of hiding it from your spouse, not wanting them to know, if that's how your arrangement works, or in other cases talking about it and it doesn't get better because you've talked about it, but just, you know, the accusation and condemnation, those kinds of thoughts, they aren't from God, and they're not true. You're not a bad man, but maybe you made a bad decision. You know, so there's I'm bringing some of the fine lines and the parts that need to be sorted out so
that you can see it.
Yeah. And when, you know, we'll get through this, hey, let's make a plan. You know, when you feel like a failure in any regard, in business or in relationships and stuff, I mean, a plan is just not even available to you at that point. You're just trying to protect from the punches.
Yeah, you don't ask a drowning man if he has a plan on how to get out of the water.
Right.
I mean, you just are overwhelmed by it.
Good word. I mean, overwhelmed, overcome. I was talking with Andy, you know, both of us are going through some physical things. Between us, I don't think we have one good knee. And we were just talking about how even that can bring about a level of concern. And if it's painful, you know, and you're just walking around in pain. You had that ongoing pain and pitch in your ear until you didn't, until somebody.
Yeah, it's better.
I know what this is.
Yeah. But like your knee, it's never quite the same.
Every step,
ever
you know,
again.
And now you're thinking about, now you're out in the future, you know, where there's some fear and concern about, man, I want to be able to walk fast again, you know, but what's this mean, and what's going to happen here? And you can sober up to, okay, let's get a plan. I need to go see somebody, have this looked at, get the x-rays, and then they, oh, well, you know, you got partially torn ligament. We can take care of that. Okay, now it's the next decision.
Yep.
You know, so I think intel and information is always good.
But the plan and the recognition of the situation does not alleviate the attack of the enemy, however.
No. If anything, it's opportunistic. That's how the end of that octagon thing. I didn't get to finish that story. Right. It says, the narrator says at the end of that chapter 4 that Satan then left Jesus for a more opportune time. Mm-hmm. And so I think, if you're gonna practice discernment, that is slowing it down and even being able to, like, what is this? Where is this from? What is it saying? I mean, those are really helpful questions to. And here's somebody told me this some years ago. And what is this producing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's producing fear, anxiety, stress,
judgment,
hiding,
condemnation,
or soothing, some kind of self-comfort. I mean, I'm a sucker for TJ Maxx when I'm feeling a little bit powerless.
Yeah,
I'll go buy something.
Right.
I'll go pick something out.
Others will binge eat, or self-soothing, pornography,
all of that stuff. You know?
Right.
So what is it producing?
Right.
And I think this is a part of the goal of this series, is to give people enough evidence to say, hey, you should kind of wake up to the reality that there's more going on, move a little slower. Maybe it would help you not say something in a reactionary way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've gotten to where, you know, I feel like more and more when I'm talking with somebody and it's getting warm, here comes
elevated.
Here comes a buffet of possibilities of what I could say. And I am not saying everything that, I'll say it this way, that I'm thinking, because I think the false self is trying to, like, how dare they? You know, so even being able to see the dashboard of your emotions and the options that are coming up, it can prevent a lot of damage if you can start to be slower, assess. It's such a better way to move. But man, if buttons, like you said, if you're wearing buttons and you're coming up to anybody,
they all say push me.
Oh,
yeah.
Then of course the person in the grocery line who steps from behind you into the next teller that's open, your button of injustice just got, like,
yeah,
it can that's how scenes happen, not only in the in the Target, but end up in the parking lot.
Yeah,
for goodness sakes.
Yeah,
I mean, you just can go, silly or out of your mind that fast. So I don't know, I'm giving some goofy examples.
No, it's not. It's a real world example, because I'm sure every one of us has that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It may not look that way, but it's a great example of an opportunity to just watch some game film.
Yeah.
Not on others, on yourself.
On yourself.
Right. And because I remember moments like that, because I have a few buttons I'm still working on, where I was able to just be like, yeah, they must be in a hurry.
Yeah.
And other times I'm like, I want to throat punch the guy. So, like, what?
Yeah, let me hit 4. Let's just do this between us. I think we can hit 4 or 5. I've got some written down of the majors. Like, how do you discern and know kind of the voices or the perspective that's being, and I say these as voices, they're not audible like you and I right now. They're more subtle inside their thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
They're almost a thought or a feeling even. Mm-hmm. But here's some that I think are, the enemy will run these every day, all day, and there are about 5 different ones. Let's see what we come up with. One is, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Just that attitude, that accusation, you're not good enough. What were you thinking? Mm-hmm. Right? And it sounds first person. I'm not good enough. What was I thinking? You actually are like a...
Yeah, you're the voice
of the ventriloquist. Ventriloquist
right.
is working you. You're not loved, or I'm unlovable. Nobody wants me. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think of here's a big one. Man, you screwed up now. Mm-hmm. And what that, anything that leads to under that sentence, you screwed that one up. Mm-hmm. It's guilt. And shame is right behind it.
I'm such an idiot.
On a big chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah. Judgment is right there.
Mm-hmm. I think the other one, last one I would say, I'm on my own. You're on your own. Nobody cares.
No one cares.
Nobody wants you. And in without the circumstances of the drama of whatever that is, somebody could say that to you, like would come up to you in a line and say, nobody wants you. And you would be like,
what?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
But in the right moment.
Oh, man. I'm with you.
That whisper could come up and you know exactly who they're talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, too, just to respond to that for a second, those subtle ones that are more like the whispers that come, mm-hmm. Nobody cares, oh man, I really blew it this time. I'm such an idiot. Those feel more like despair mm-hmm. to me. Like there's no, you can't control. There's no control over that.
Yeah.
More than, the other side of so that's part of how my false self. It's like you read my mail. Part of how my false self works is to convince me all of those things, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, all of that. And that part of my false self makes me want to retreat.
Right.
The other part of my false self, and I can examine that, like knowing the map and having walked in this some, I can see that and feel it when it's happening. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
That those statements want to provoke in me, right? That false self wants to provoke in me. So I can navigate. The other one is the throat punch guy. Like, I'm watching that guy, like you said, sail over the falls, man.
Come over the counter.
Way harder. Like, it's like the Hulk. Once he's out, he's just out.
Yeah.
And there's almost no stopping it until afterwards, when then the cycle comes back around when the Hulk gets out.
Yeah.
And the Hulk looks different for everybody, but when that comes out, then the cycle comes back to, oh my gosh, you did it again. You got out of control. You yelled at your wife, you know. I mean, you threatened to punch a guy because he took your shopping cart. What the heck is going on? What's wrong with you?
Right. Great. Yeah. And the what's wrong with you? You know, if you can pull back and say, yeah, what is wrong? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
And it may have to happen.
Yeah. And you
for
see,
you to get
see
to a
it in
place
that
where you
moment.
can ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many great illustrations and stories that, as we land this, you know, I think Mr. Howard with Red and Seabiscuit, when he's so mad that he got fouled. Well, he's mad about there's a lot more
all the way back to when he was a kid. Yeah.
That happened at the time in the Great Depression and things that happened to him as a boy. But Mr. Howard's like, son, why are you so angry?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just that question. And I think the Spirit can and does work in that way if you'll let him. But if it's just another accusation, and you're not going to listen to God in that moment. But if that aggressive or even that passive I'd love to do it so I can, Andy, you can get, if you could take that and say, okay, time out. Jesus, what is this?
Yeah. What's going
on here? You know,
because I'm watching the film and I can't interpret it.
And I can't stop it.
Right.
I mean, that's how good the enemy is.
I can't stop putting my mouthpiece in, right? Or taking it out.
It's just a habit.
Yeah,
you know, it's just a reaction. It's just a button. And so I think as we wrap it up, close it out, I think this moving slow, we've talked about, it's really interesting, an observation deck. So to get some altitude on something that you're in the weeds on, you know, to get up and to see more, you know, this deck that you can ascend to with Jesus. And I think, SJ, when you get good at this, you actually can live more up on the deck
100%.
with Jesus.
Yep.
And occasionally you fall off or you get dragged down.
Right.
And these mistakes.
The trap door opens underneath you.
We talked about this some weeks ago. I remember on a podcast. It's echoing in my heart again. And these mistakes then become invitations to intimacy, not sentences of judgment on you. And if you will participate in your own healing, if you'll participate in your own training.
All comes back to exercising your will. You have to be willing to do it.
And you got to be awake to do that.
And know which way to go. And 100%.
And every now and then on the field, you know, you can't see where the hit's coming from. Yeah. But most players, if they know how to move, you know, they know how to advance without getting clocked every play, you know, because they're not paying attention. So, Andy, I just want to read. Here's a stretch of things that I just want to end on, because I think in the map and on the backside we have not exhausted, but we have included many passages, biblical references on this map. I mean, this is not stuff we made up. Right. This was stuff that we surveyed and brought together. So I just want to hit a few of these.
Straight out of the scriptures,
Straight out of the scriptures. This is Jesus and his friends, and I'll give you the reference. John 10:10. Jesus says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I came that you might have life and have it to the full. But the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. 1 Peter 5:8. Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Well, where did Peter learn that from?
By being devoured.
Well, and with Jesus, right?
With Jesus,
yeah, Jesus says Satan has
Yeah.
Satan has asked to sift you. Like
Right.
there are scenes where here's a line, there's a line here, that's so powerful. John 14:30, Jesus calls Satan the prince of this dark world, and so that's why in the temptations, when Satan offers Jesus the authority over all these kingdoms, if he'll worship him, Jesus doesn't say, and this is just a clue, Jesus doesn't say, well, that's not yours to offer. He says, no, you worship no one but the Lord your God.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say you can't offer those, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
In terms of what happens through the cross. 1 Corinthians says he takes back dominion. He takes back charge. Mm-hmm. He ascends back to the right hand of the Father after dismantling the enemy's ability to do what the enemy's been doing. So when Christians who are oriented can now come on the scene, there's a tactic, in a tactical sense, they're there to alleviate what the enemy's doing. But I just don't see that we have many Christians practicing that kind of not only surveillance, but also enforcement of, well, that's not true, and helping people out of some of those, not circumstances, but some of those oppressive conditions. So 2 Corinthians 11, Paul says Satan masquerades as an angel of light. Okay, when, where, how does that happen? Mm-hmm. John 8:44, he's a liar and the father of lies, Jesus says.
And what's the power of a lie?
Yeah, but you believe it. That's the
matters.
power and the authority that it has over your life. And then two more, Revelation 12:9, Satan leads the whole world astray. He's the deceiver. One of my favorite passages that we talk about is in Ephesians 5. I think it's 17 through 19. It might be 16 through 19. But it's this charge by Paul who says, therefore, be careful how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Mm-hmm. And so, I think until he comes back, that is one of the subtitles of our days. And we're seeing it in Minneapolis. We're seeing it in courtrooms every day. Yep. We're seeing it in society and in culture, that there's more going on than just people doing stupid stuff.
Right.
There are forces at work using those people. And the opportunity to bring, not just an awareness, but the weapon that we're supposed to have in all of this is the weapon of love.
Yeah.
And what happened to those folks? I mean, those stories are horrible, that happened to them, that led them to that place. I haven't seen it happen with this instance, but I've seen it before, where the assaulted party publicly forgives the assaulter. Yeah, the black church that
that's right.
That guy came in shooting that thing.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, every individual needs to get, navigate that the way they would navigate it, but that's a powerful thing to witness.
Yeah.
Like that is a supernatural thing, because it's not just in us, in our own power, to forgive when someone's hurt you that catastrophically.
Yeah.
And your story might be you were hurt catastrophically when you were young, right? So these are weapons of war and tactics to use, and we have been granted the authority and the power to use them.
Yeah.
By the one who has the keys to it all, man.
Yeah. I think as you get versed with the map and with this way of seeing and an orientation, that you can start to even begin to resist the devil and he'll flee.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the battle that's happening inside. I mean, we caricaturized this with Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and cartoons with the little red, I think a Kronk and
Emperor's New Groove.
He's got the little white Kronk and the little
look
red.
what I can
Kronk.
do. Yeah. Little devil guy.
I mean, we make it
That's
funny.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's
But it's anything
more
but that.
real than comic.
Right.
And I think that I would rather us as kingdom sons and daughters swing a little more for a while to there's a lot of darkness at work in me. There's a lot of darkness coming at me, and the darkness wants to work through you to hurt and wound other people. Yeah. So that's the whole crazy concept of why love is the greatest weapon.
100%.
And when you can choose kindness or love or patience or some level of tolerance or even blessing.
Yeah,
because
grace.
Jesus says crazy things like that.
Yeah.
That give him your other cheek. Give him your coat. Let him.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got the economy. I got you. If it's just a powerful beginning, I think, of this very, very important way to move. And it just takes time. Yeah. Our friends, we have a few friends that are airline pilots. Don't set me down there. But you give me enough training, maybe more than the average guy, but if you give me enough training, I might get certified and can do that. So, people are amazing at what they've been trained to do. I mean, I have some friends who are in research labs, and man, their concepts of chemistry and molecular understanding and compound, it's unbelievable. But it's their normal. Yeah. And yet believers are not, by and large, practicing at the level of normal that they should if they've been a believer 10, 15, 50 years. Yeah. They're still playing with the crayons rather than moving into the 3 and 4D of these kind of concepts. So I hope this is challenging, helpful. I hope somebody will download a map.
Let's quit being past. Let's go. Let's do this. Look at the maps. Yeah. Let's get an understanding, man, because we can make a real difference.
And you got to get out
in our lives and the lives of others.
You got to be able to move outside of the locker room, outside of HQ. I mean, the maps are good, but this is the kind of intel that then is supposed to help you out there.
Yeah, we're in enemy territory. We're like the 501st, man. They are surrounded all the time.
Paratroopers.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so we are too. So.
Yeah. And yet we don't have to be casualties.
501st, 101st, 82nd.
Yeah. We don't have to be casualties, and we don't have to be victims. Yeah. We can actually be victors.
That's right.
As 1 Corinthians tells us, and move well equipped, well trained, well informed, and becoming better ourselves at overcoming this false flesh creature that we contend with. He shouldn't have the microphone. He shouldn't have the power. He shouldn't have the ability to run the show.
So next episode, we'll talk more about the kingdom of light.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But if you've got questions or comments, leave them below, please. Shoot us an email if you want to be connected, exploringmore@zoe.org. Love to hear what some of your experiences have been hearing from the kingdom of darkness and maybe what's landing on you from these episodes about the map.
Sounds good. We'll see you next time on the Exploring More podcast. Thanks for being with us.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring More. The landing page for this podcast is zoe.org/podcast. That's ZOWEH.org/podcast, where you can find the show notes and various platforms to which we broadcast. You can also find us and the Life of More by visiting Zoe on YouVersion Bible app, Right Now Media, our Facebook page, and Zoe on Instagram and Twitter. Remember, with God there is always more, and you were made for more.